Hello, my dear friends, and welcome to Holy Thursday and to my reflection. Today's Gospel and the Old Testament lesson is all about the new start that the Israelites have as a nation, and then the new start that we who follow Jesus also have. The location for this new start is in the gracious act of God. The God who creates us and sustains us in our lives provides for their people. One aspect of the Exodus that we as Christians forget is that the Passover does not happen in a vacuum. There has been an incredible build-up to this moment through the battle between what appears to be Moses and Pharaoh, but in reality is a battle between two worldviews, a worldview that has Yahweh as God and a worldview that has the gods of Egypt in charge. Who is really the true God? Who is going to win? This is the ultimate question. Ultimately, God strikes in such an overt and terrible way that there is no way that anyone else can help but make the distinction between the Egyptians and the Israelites, between the people of Yahweh and the people of Pharaoh. And before we actually go and say, oh, this is terrible, God has given the Egyptians and Pharaoh every single opportunity to relent and to yield to God. And they have simply refused to do it. And this is the issue for us as Christians as well and the world today, and that which is exemplified in the book of the Revelation. And so let's listen to what happens in Exodus. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month shall stand as the head of your calendar. You shall reckon it the first month of the year. Tell the whole community of Israel, on the 10th of this month, every one of your families must procure for itself a lamb, one apiece for each household. If a family is too small for a whole lamb, it shall join the nearest household in procuring one, and shall share in the lamb in proportion to the number of persons who partake of it. The lamb must be a year-old male and without blemish. You may take it from either the sheep or the goats. You shall keep it until the 14th day of this month, and then with the whole assembly of Israel present, it shall be slaughtered during the evening twilight. They shall take some of its blood and apply it to the two doorposts and the lintel of every house in which they partake of the lamb. That same night they shall eat it toasted flesh, it's roasted flesh, with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. This is how you are to eat it, with your loins girt, with sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. You shall eat like those who are in flight. It is the Passover of the Lord. For on this same night I will go through Egypt, striking down every firstborn of the land, both humankind and beast, and executing judgment on all the gods of Egypt. I, the Lord. But the blood mark will mark the house where you are. Seeing the blood, I will pass over you. Thus, when I strike the land of Egypt, no destructive blow will come upon you. This day shall be a memorial feast for you, which all your generations shall celebrate, with pilgrimage to the Lord as a perpetual institution." Note what God says right at the beginning. This month shall stand at the head of your calendar. You shall reckon it the first month of the year. This is how God commences the new life that the nation will enjoy under God. They will have a feast. They will have a meal that will be shot through with meaning for them. Unleavened bread, reminding them of the haste they have to make to get ready to leave. That will then translate later as to symbolize getting rid of their sinfulness, getting rid of their leaven of sin out of their households. Their sandals on their feet and their staff in hand. In other words, ready to go at a moment's notice. The price of freedom for the Israelites is the lamb. The price for the people of Egypt is the firstborn are lost. It is a terrible reality, but the stark reality is that Pharaoh had plenty of opportunity to yield, but simply refused, and Pharaoh and the Egyptians paid a terrible price. And we as the people of God and of the world today need to remember this and to pay heed to it, lest we also fall into the same error as Pharaoh and the Egyptians. In John's gospel, the emphasis is on the washing of the feet. So when, and in fact, there's no reference, there's no recording of Jesus having a meal with them, other than that after the meal, he goes and does the washing of the feet. So we read in John's gospel, so when he had washed their feet and put his garments back on and reclined at table again, he said to them, "Do you realize what I have done for you? You call me teacher and master, and rightly so, for indeed I am. If I then, your master and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash one another's feet. I have given you a model to follow, so that as I have done for you, you should also do." It's a wonderful passage, and I encourage you to read that in John's Gospel. It's that whole chapter from those two huge chapters, of chapters 15, 16, the 3 or 4 chapters, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Really wonderful, wonderful passages, and I encourage you during this Eastertide, the remainder of Holy Week and of Eastertide, to read that passage again, because it's just so beautiful and so encouraging. And here we need to remember that Judas is still with them. Jesus washes the feet of the one who will betray him. It's interesting, I think it was in Iraq, there were still Christians or descendants of John the Baptist and of the Christian tradition, where the washing of the feet was still an integral part of their Christian witness. So it's taken a long time to sort of come out, but most of the Christian churches sort of really only relegate the washing of the feet really to Maundy Thursday, to Holy Thursday, and I think we actually forget about that to our peril. The point of the washing of the feet is about service to one another. I think we need to bring it to the fore much more. It is hard to be condemning of others while you are on your knees washing the feet of others, even those who have or will betray you. So I think about that for a moment. It's hard to condemn or to be doing anything else other than to serving one another when you're on your knees, washing the feet of those around you, those who are meant to serve, even those who will betray you. It seems to me that these two passages need to be front and center for us, not just in Holy Week and for this day in Holy Week, but for each and every day as we seek to follow Jesus. Humankind, although it is made in the image and likeness of God and is indeed totally loved by God, totally cared for by God, God is totally committed to us, we continue to resist God. This is the story of the plagues of Egypt. Despite God being completely in charge and demonstrating powerfully to Pharaoh, representing most of humanity, who represents most of humanity, and continued to resist the urge of God. And so we too continue to resist the urge of God and what he asks us to do. We fall into the same error of Pharaoh and the Egyptian people. We who follow Jesus need to be constantly aware of our need to emulate Jesus. And that requires us to be on our knees, serving one another. It's very difficult to be lording it over others when we're on our knees in service to others, even those others who might betray us and who might even reject us. The Old Testament and the Gospel passages are reminders to us of the constant friction between the two worldviews, the worldview of God and the worldview of the world that we are a part of. God is active in our world. God is not passive, and we are called to cooperate with God on our knees in service to one another. While there may be conflict and rising tensions between the worldviews, God's and the gods of this world and the one true God, The one true God, we are reminded through these passages, will overcome. And when God overcomes, it will be dramatic and it may well even be shocking, but God will prevail. God prevailed at the first creation. God prevailed at the new creation. And the Passover meal that we celebrate as Holy Communion is a reminder to us that this is true even when it doesn't look like it and when we want to give up hope. I pray that this Easter you may not give up hope and that you may indeed look to Jesus as the one who enables each and every one of us to have a new start, just as the Israelites were able, just as Peter and the disciples were able, and confident in that reality, be ready, willing, and able to serve each other on our knees as followers of the Lord Jesus. The Lord be with you.